Hi, this is Laura Kamler speaking, and I'd like to welcome everybody to our webinar, How to Fund Your Classroom Projects. And I have with me Francie Kugelman, who is our expert today, who's going to be sharing all of her secrets of how to write a DonorsChoose grant or proposal and try to get a grant funded. She'll be giving us lots of information, and so we're going to go into the session, and I'll introduce myself in a moment. Francie will introduce herself, and we'll get started. Before we do get started with it, though, you may want to complete your audio setup if you haven't done that by going to Tools, Audio, and doing the Audio Setup Wizard. This is especially important at the end if you would like to use your microphone and ask questions. So let's move on. Here we are. I'm Laura. I'm speaking right now, and in a minute you'll hear Francie. I have a web page for teachers called Teaching Resources. I'm a retired teacher now, but I taught for 29 years, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and I love collaborating and sharing with teachers, getting great ideas and sharing the things that I've learned through the years. And Francie and I kind of met up on the internet, I guess a few years ago. I started doing webinars, and Francie has been my moderator, and for this session we've kind of reversed the roles. I had previously known about an organization called DonorsChoose, where teachers can get funding for their projects, and I found out that Francie was a screener for those projects, a reader, as well as a teacher herself, a 5th grade teacher. And as I got to know her, I heard more and more about DonorsChoose, and a few months ago found out that she's had over $20,000 worth of projects funded through DonorsChoose. So she is definitely the expert here this evening, and we've been through her materials earlier today, and this session is just going to be jam-packed with so many wonderful ideas. It is being recorded right now, and we will make the PowerPoint available, and we can also make the chat available too. Francie, you want to have a few words to say before we get started with the session?
All right. Well, I teach near Pasadena, California, and I just finished my 10th year of teaching. I prefer teaching 5th grade and have taught at some 5-6 splits. I started with DonorsChoose by submitting my first proposal in 2006, and just the last 2 years I've really increased how many proposals I've typed up and gotten funded, and I'm a big fan of DonorsChoose. I was such a fan that DonorsChoose contacted me and offered me a job, volunteer job, to screen proposals. And so every month I and many other screeners, we're called teachers as screeners, we read proposals, and I read about 100 a month. And so I've seen a lot of fantastic proposals, and every so often if I see one, I go, oh, that's a great idea. I might write myself a note, so later on when I'm thinking about what I want in my classroom, I'll use that idea for a proposal. And as a task screener, I reject proposals that don't meet the criteria required by DonorsChoose, and I edit the proposals so they're free from typos and grammatical errors. So I've got a good sense of what makes a winning proposal.
Yes, she definitely, as we went through some of her materials today, I was just amazed. It really is. There's a lot of inside knowledge that people who are good at writing these grants, that's why they keep getting them funded over and over, because there are definitely secrets to the whole business, and Francie's going to share that with us. But we've got a lot of slides here, so we're going to go ahead and move on. This is our little informal agenda, little welcome for me, and it should say Francie as well. And we also want to mention a thanks to LearnCentral.org, because they're the ones that are sponsoring this room. I did have a room with Illuminate, but mine only seated 50 people, and after the first few webinars it just wasn't enough, and it's definitely not enough tonight. So we're really grateful to Learn Central for providing this. If you're not a member of Learn Central, if you go to LearnCentral.org and sign up, you can actually have your own little private room just like the one we're in. It's only good for 3 people to meet in, but it's still a great place to collaborate with others, and that's free. The next thing that we're going to be doing is in a moment, I'm going to be walking you through just a little bit of the Illuminate Live webinar environment so you can feel comfortable here. Then we'll have the biggest part of our presentation is on using DonorsChoose to help fund classroom resources. If time allows, we'll do questions and answers before we wrap up at 9, but if time does not allow, Francie and I will just hang around here till 9:30 or whatever it takes and answer everybody's questions. So we will wrap up the formal session at 9 o'clock with a prize drawing for a $50 DonorsChoose gift card. We will make sure we do that by 9 o'clock because not everybody can stay. But don't leave the room unless you have to after that point, because a lot of times in these webinars the best information is somehow revealed or brought out by the questions and answers after the official webinar is over. Okay, let's take a look at where you are right now with Illuminate Live. Just looking around if you're not familiar. Let's do this real quick. The first thing I want to do is for you to look at the green check and the red X and see where it says polling. These are ways that you can interact with us and let us know information. Actually, I guess I don't need to ask this question because we'll be asking it in a minute. In just a few minutes, we're going to be asking you whether you've ever been in a webinar with Illuminate Live before or not, but we'll hold off on that for a second. But you'll see there's whiteboard tools. There's a little icon where you can raise your hand. In fact, why don't everybody go ahead and try real quick to raise your hand. Just click that little raise hand icon. This is how we're going to be doing our drawing at the end of the session. I'll have everybody raise their hand and then we'll randomly pick a number. So that's just the raise hand. Usually that's not used during the session unless you want to ask a question, and probably most of that will be done at the end. Okay. Looks like a few more people are figuring it out. Another thing you can do is you can use the applause symbol there if you want to add applause or a smiley face. You can try out some of those little features real quick. Okay, I'm going to clear those out right now. Okay. I should tell you also there's different layouts possible, and the layout that you may have in front of you of your screen may not be the optimal layout if you've never been in the room before. There's something called the wide layout that if you go up to the top and you click View and you go to Layouts and you choose Wide Layout, you can see the the chat area a lot better, so you may want to try to do that. And then at the end of the webinar, if you want to ask questions if you do have a microphone, you can click in the lower corner there and turn on your microphone. But right now we have the microphones deactivated. I think that's about it for right now. It's some sort of thing as you do it, you will learn a little bit more about it, just kind of working through the session. Okay, let's move on. This is just a few pointers. I did tell you about the wide layout. We did mention that the webinar is going to be recorded. We've talked about the chat box. Just so you know, in the chat box you can send private messages to individual people by just typing your message, and then instead of sending it to this room, you can scroll down and send it to somebody else. But moderators, Francie and I will see everything that's said to anyone. Just a little heads up on that. And then we talked a little bit about the microphone. It's pointing down right now for most of you. On the lower left corner it's kind of grayed out. And then later we'll activate it, and if you want to ask a question, if you have a headset, we'll let you do that. Okay, enough about Illuminate Live. I think we went too far here. I think we'll figure it out as we go. So what we're going to do right now, Francie, we forgot to set the polling feature, so let me do that right now. In the polling area, you'll see A, B, C, and D. So let's take a look at the questions. This is for me and Francie to sort of know your general knowledge here. If this is your first Illuminate Live session, click on the A. And if it's you've participated as an observer or watched a recording, B. And if you've participated actively, meaning you actually chatted or you talked, that would be C. And if you've been fortunate enough to be a moderator, you pick D. And in just a second, I will put those votes over onto the whiteboard so we can see how it works out. Okay, there we go. So 50% are brand new, 15% have watched a recording, 20% have participated actively, and a few people did not respond. So just so you know, if at some point during the session you need to step away from the computer, maybe your family calls, as mine does sometimes, or you have to run and get something real quick, there's an open door symbol right down by the A, B, C, and D. And if you click that, I just did, it will say that you're away. It does not mean that you've gone somewhere, like your name is still there, but then when you unclick it, you're back. But that just lets us know if we're asking questions and you're not responding. If you click the away button, then we'll know why that is. Okay. This is fun. We like to find out where everybody's joining us from all over the world. And we suspect a lot of people in the United States because DonorsChoose is for teachers in the United States. But if you could use the laser pointer, it looks kind of like a little sparkly wand, and click on that and then click on the map and the approximate location of where you are. And looks like we've got mostly teachers in the United States. I'm not sure if I see anyone anywhere else, but that makes sense for what we have tonight. Wow, look at
Laura,
that.
It's so beautiful. It looks like when you're in outer space and you see the lights of America.
I know. That's great. There's 143 people in the room, so I don't think I've seen that many dots on the map altogether. Isn't that fun? It looks like fireworks or something, doesn't it? Okay, and also if you would type in the chat box your more exact location. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, so I will add that in. And let's just see all of the great locations where everybody's from. Just use the chat box and click the send button. Speaking of the chat box, I'll have to tell you, Francie is usually the moderator for my webinars, and she's really good at following the questions and comments and things in the chat box. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be quite as good as Francie, but I'll do my best. It's sometimes hard for me to listen to somebody present and then also watch what's going on in the chat box, but I will do my best. And Francie, I believe this is your turn to take over here. Are you ready to go?
Yes, we're going to continue on with getting to know you a little better. So we have a little questionnaire here. How familiar are you with DonorsChoose? So if you're a ladybug, this will be your very first experience with DonorsChoose. Or perhaps you're a turtle. You've heard of DonorsChoose, but you haven't yet submitted your project proposal. Maybe you're a rabbit, you've submitted a few proposals, maybe some of them haven't gotten funded, and so you want to learn some strategies for success. Or maybe you're a galloping horse and you've been using DonorsChoose to get resources, but you want to go to the next level and learn some additional funding strategies. So now you have your chance to take that pointing laser and go to the bottom of the screen and find the check mark.
Hang on a second, Francie. I don't think they have. Let me give them back their whiteboard privileges. Okay, here we go. Sorry,
so anyway,
I was trying to keep people from marking up the whiteboard.
Mark. And yeah, look at that. So we have a bunch of people, some new people just starting out, and a couple galloping horses. I'm glad to see all of you here today. This is great.
Wow, there's a lot there. It's wonderful. Okay, and we will look forward to, the thing that's neat about the webinars is that people can use the chat area and enter their comments and things and give supportive information or ask questions. And then even if you don't have time to read it during the webinar, you can go back later and look through all of the comments and things. Okay.
Right. Well, I want to give you some background information on DonorsChoose. A teacher named Charles Best created it 10 years ago, and he made a nonprofit corporation established to help teachers get resources for their classrooms. He felt like teachers know exactly what we want, and turns out that if you list a proposal, sometimes there's perfect strangers out there who want to help us. So that's really wonderful. And some statistics, $80 million has been donated by 400,000 donors, and they've made 1 million donations. So it just shows that there is opportunities out there to get projects funded. DonorsChoose, for me, has made my classroom extra special. So if I start listing some resources that you want, I'd like you to type in the little chat box, ooh, brain pop, yes. And so I want to tell you, these are some of new proposals I got funded this spring. I have a year subscription to Brain Pop, and there's also a younger one called Brain Pop Junior. Every Halloween I have owl pellet dissections, and they're very expensive. I used to have to ask the kids to pay for them. Now I get DonorsChoose to give me owl pellets. And this year I treated myself to a graphic novel on the U.S. Constitution, and it helped us learn about the Bill of Rights in graphic novel form. So these are just examples of some proposals that I've come up with this year that have really turned my class around. So you're wondering, what can you ask for? It's very important with DonorsChoose that you select a resource that will help the students learn. It could be anything from a document camera to pencils, papers, flash drives, toner, anything you can think of, but it has to be for student use. And if you ask for donations of candy and prizes, it will not fly with DonorsChoose. You cannot have those kind of proposals. I created a list for some of you to get some ideas going. So these are things that I've seen as a screener that kindergarten teachers often ask for. Rugs, Leapfrog is really popular, and book bags to take home so kids can read with their parents. And I've seen some water and sand play stations. Here's some ideas for primary grade resources. Some teachers get incubators. They get subscriptions to Weekly Reader or Time for Kids. You can get digital cameras, flip camcorders, sorting, counting manipulatives. And these are a list of some things that I've done for my own class: magnets, GEM science kits, rolling easel. I got an optical projector and an Elmo document camera. And I talked about my chess set. That's my latest, greatest thing that I love. And I always get toner, color cartridges, laser cartridges. And then when the kids go, can I print this out? I just smile and say, sure, because I didn't have to pay for all those resources. Oh, one of my favorite, Jeopardy. I know some of you know how expensive this is. And I was lucky enough to get that funded this year. And that's my class, Jumping for Joy at Jeopardy. Here's some ideas for 7th through 12th grade. If you're a music teacher, you can ask for instruments. You can get field trips. One of my favorites is a microphone sound system. We use it in my classroom. It's a little portable. And when kids have to share, everyone listens because they have the microphone and their speakers. And I've also gotten a lot of art projects, glazes and watercolor paper. So all of these are things that enrich my classroom. Did anyone like these ideas? How about thumbs up, applause?
Yeah, Francie, they've been typing stuff in the chat box like crazy. And I know you're not able to look at it because you're talking. But why don't we have everybody who has gotten something funded type in the chat box what you've already had funded before. Maybe as people read some of those ideas, they can get ideas, ideas also for things that they would like to have. So let's give everybody a minute. If you've already had something funded, just type a little something in there.
Look at Pam got a human torso. What a great idea. Literacy stations.
Solar kits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did solar race cars. You know, they're a little funky. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that. They're really pricey, but it was fun. The kids liked them, and they took forever to build.
E-readers, I see.
Literature circle books are just so wonderful, and class sets of books, and audio books, and then you can get kind of fancy and get your iPads and your iPods, but I haven't done that yet. Laptops. Yeah, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of doing laptops soon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to move on. how is DonorsChoose different than a grant? Well, first off, you don't need to get your principal to authorize your proposals. You just do it on your own. There are no long forms to fill out. There's just an online essay. It takes me about 20 minutes to complete the package when I want to do a proposal, and DonorsChoose has made it very easy with helpful hints and spell checks. And you can have more than one proposal online, so that makes it a lot different. You're not just waiting to see if Target's going to fund you this year. Who can submit a proposal? Well, you have to be a public school teacher, so that is one thing, and you have to be in the United States. You have to work full-time, so teachers, librarians, nurses, anybody who works full-time can submit a proposal, but a parent can't submit a proposal for you. If you have a parent who can help you get prepared, that's fine, but you have to be the one to actually submit the proposal. Does it work? Absolutely. Since 2000, over 206,000 projects have been funded. So our goal is to get you to be able to get your projects funded. Laura and I were talking that I've had total strangers fund my projects. A lot of times it's a corporation who has a special opportunity, and I take advantage of it. And Laura has suggested that tap into your parents, your PTA, your PTO, and she has a great sample letter here that you can download, and she'll provide the link for you. It's a PDF file of how to write a great letter to ask your parents to help with the funding. And as I admit, this year I did stretch a little, and I did ask them to help with the chest, and $50 later they did help me out, so it's worth asking. Here's some more people you can ask. You can post it on Facebook, ask your family members, and if there's just 20 bucks left for your proposal to fund before it expires, you can make a donation yourself and take a deduction, so you can fund your own proposals too. So DonorsChoose has changed from the past. If you want to submit a proposal, you have to have a photo or some type of image to upload. So we, as screeners, do a safety check. And if you look at pictures 2 and 4, the children's faces and the teacher's face are just too large for the green oval, and we will kick that proposal back. That means you won't even get it listed until you pick a different image. The problem with photos is you have to get parents to sign the permission slip. So if school's out and you want to do a proposal this summer, you can have a proposal like this. It's your student artwork, or you can have a classroom bulletin board, or you could have a picture of the outside of your school. The only thing that DonorsChoose does not accept is clip art, so don't submit any clip art. And if you had a bulletin board, make sure there's no photos of your children on it unless you have a signed permission slip. I wanted you to see what it's like as a donor. This is what they see when they first come to DonorsChoose.org, and they will click on the box that says View Projects. After that, they can select what kind of projects they want to fund, and they could click math and science or special needs, and I typed in iPad. So let's pretend I'm a donor who just wants to fund a teacher who wants an iPad. Here's some examples, and you can see this is the picture that you would be uploading. So you want your picture to be a great image that donors might go, oh, I want to find out more about that proposal. So this is what the donors see, and they can just go shopping right over on the right-hand side and give an amount, and it goes in their shopping cart, and then they just fund it at the end of their shopping experience. When you submit a proposal for DonorsChoose, there's it's like a persuasive letter. There's certain elements in it, and this is an example I have of a teacher who wanted to get some rugs for her young students. And so she says, have you ever watched a child get excited about learning? So, we see a lot of these, do you remember what it was like when you read your first book? So that's your opening intro to get the donor intrigued to read on. The next part of the proposal is you describe your students. And this is where you really need to stress what kind of situation? Are you teaching in an impoverished area? Are you a Title I school? If you are, list it. If you're not, then you would focus on how great and energetic your kids are and how they love to learn. But if you are a school that has Title I and free and reduced lunch, then you really will help yourself by listing that kind of information. The third part is where you describe your proposal. And a lot of proposal I read, and
Francie?
we read,
I wanted to break in here for just a second because
okay.
I want you're seeing what the other side is like when you're presenting and there's questions coming in, and I'm like on the other side of it. And
okay.
I want people to know that Francie's not ignoring your questions. It's just really hard when you're presenting to watch the chat box. So what I'm going to suggest is if you have questions, go ahead and post them in there, but at the end of the session, if she has not answered it as a part of her presentation, then ask your question again, either type it back in the box again or whatever, because
right.
a number of questions came up about photos and if it's okay to have your back to the camera and just things like that we can certainly go back to. It's just that there's a lot, Francie has a lot of really good information, and I hate to interrupt her and ask her some of these questions right now and then not get to some of the key ideas. So it's great to put your
right.
questions in, and what I love is that some of the participants are just jumping on there and answering them, which is super. But if you don't get your question answered, please just remember it, and then when we get to the question and answer part, just type it right back in there, and then we can really focus on that. Okay, go ahead and start back over on this slide, Francie, because I just interrupted what you were saying.
Okay, well, I did glance at some of the photo questions. Right now, whatever photo you...
Are you with me?
Yeah, can you hear me, Laura? It looks like I have a connection problem.
Looks like I've got... Okay,
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
it's any better?
Sound like Mickey Mouse voice, so I don't know. I can. You sound like Mickey Mouse. It's that audio problem. It'll clear up in it. I don't think it's your fault, so just keep going.
Okay.
And
all right.
There it goes. It's fine now. Okay.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say about the photos is that the one photo you upload will be on all your proposals. So you can change it. You can always change it. But right now, DonorsChoose doesn't let you select which photo, and you can't have 6 different photos. And if you do have the backs of your kids, you really don't need a permission slip. So I saw another question like that. So I'm going to continue on. This is the meat of your proposal where you ask what you want. And what I was going to say is teachers forget that the donors don't look at their resource cart where they say, this is what I want. So you have to say what you want right here. You can't just say, I would love these resources because they'd be so helpful, because we don't know what you're asking for. So make sure you, like this woman, she's asking for carpets, and the carpets are made of maps, and the kids will learn all about the world because of them. The very last part of your proposal is a typical persuasive ending where you beg your donor to help you, and with thanks to your generosity, my students will be able to get these rugs, or whatever you want to say, but it's your last chance to convince the donor to fund your project. These are things we don't want you to do. Don't ask for stickers or anything to raise money. Don't ask for a laptop for yourself. I know you're going to use it in the classroom, but these laptops are for your students. So if you word it so the resource is for your students to use, it'll be approved. But if you say, I need a laptop to grade papers, you will not get it approved. Also, I know you want those great professional development books that cost so much. Don't ask for them, and don't ask for Rosetta Stone. All of those will be rejected, because I know it'll make you a better teacher, but it's not what DonorsChoose is about. They want resources that the students can put their hands on and use. So I made a proposal a couple nights ago because I thought I'd go through the process, but I am not going to slow down and have us read my proposal. You can read it at your leisure when you download my PowerPoint or you watch this again. So I want to show you, I do have a snappy title. Flash drives and dry erase markers help us save and learn. You get to have 60 words, and I went for it. And, oh, this is my favorite part. You get to go shopping. So DonorsChoose has a special online mall that you go shopping, and they strongly recommend that you keep your resource requests to less than $400. These are the vendors that are in the eSchool Mall where you'll go shopping. And I'll point some of them out. You can get a subscription to Time for Kids or Weekly Reader. You can shop at Lakeshore. AKJ Books is like shopping at Barnes & Noble online. That's where you get all your books. NASCO is great for science projects. Quill is good for office supplies. And I love Blick art materials for my art supplies, and Woodwind and Brasswind are excellent for music. So you can see there's a great assortment of vendors. I wanted to get some flash drives, so I knew that Quill would be my source, but I could have just typed in Quill flash drives, and all the vendors that have flash drives would show up. But here I am. Here's a little screenshot of me shopping at Quill on the DonorsChoose e-store. And look at the selection I could choose. It's just like shopping online. And I got the cheap one so I could get a whole bunch of flash drives because my students tend to lose them. And I spent $380. I thought I'd spend $100 because that's the minimum. You have to spend at least $100. Well, what happened was I knew I was under $100, and I said, well, let's get some dry erase markers. And then I saw these adorable little answer boards, and so I had to buy those. And suddenly my proposal was up to $380. That's not good because DonorsChoose adds on costs, shipping, tax, third-party processing fee, optional donations. So suddenly my proposal was up to $500. And I know that I wouldn't have a good chance of getting it funded. So I went back and I updated my cart. I asked for less items, and then I got my proposal down to $400. So this is an example of what you can do if you go shopping crazy like I do. And you know, you want to make sure before you push the button that your cart has got just the right amount of resources. You can always do another proposal. Then you sum up what you want, and I said my students need flash drives and dry erase markers so they can quickly show that they understand concepts. You are competing with other people. Other teachers want their proposals funded, so you want to make your proposal great. How? Well, you're going to make it compelling. You're going to show the donor that you love teaching and you love your students, and if you do that in your proposal and you don't make it too long, the donors will be more apt to fund your proposal. And these slides I'm going to go through really quickly because this is exactly what I wrote. So here's my opener. This is my students. I teach at a Title I school in Southern California. And this describes what I'm asking for. And here is my begging part. Your generosity in funding this proposal means that my students can soar with excitement. So, you know, we teach our students how to write persuasively. We can do it too. The next thing is pretty important. I don't know if you remember, but teachers, the donors look at subject areas, and let's say there's a person who only funds math projects. Well, my expo markers and my flash drives are considered math projects because that's how I'm going to use them. So you get to pick what subject areas your proposal will fall under. This is what my proposal looks like, and there's a cute picture of my kids jumping for joy with their Jeopardy game. So that's what it looks for. If you notice, I'm just called Mrs. K. So everything is very anonymous on DonorsChoose. You get 5 months to get your proposal funded, and after that it expires. And if people have funded towards it, their money goes somewhere else to a different fund. And it's a good idea to check every so often that how your proposal is doing, because if people fund just even $20, you need to write them a quick online thank you note, and DonorsChoose has a great way for you to do that. when you get your proposal funded, you'll get a note from DonorsChoose, and I think you have 6 days to email them back saying, yes, I still want this. This is for them to cover themselves so they don't send resources out to a teacher who's moved on. And that's another reason why your principal and other teachers that have signed up with DonorsChoose will be notified. They'll say, guess what? Mrs. Kugelman has just had a proposal funded with DonorsChoose, so everyone knows in your school that you've had another successful proposal funded. When you funded your proposal, your resource arrives, and all you have to do is have your students write thank you letters. So that's not asking too much. And then you have to upload photos of your students using the resource. So here's a picture of my students reading The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Thumbs up for that book. And on the lower photo, they are holding their toner packages. And sometimes I have them hold projects that we've printed on the color printer. So let's take a break, and if you want to tell me what your ideas of great proposals are, or great proposals that you've had funded, how about everyone chat in the chat box for a second and share some great ideas of proposals. I'm going to put chess. I love chess. Ooh, iPod.
So before we ask people to put in proposals that they had already had funded, but now I think we're asking for people to put in proposals of things that they would like to write up. Is that what we're doing, Francie? I just want to clarify.
It could be either. You know, like I'm in love with my chess set, so I think it's great. If you have something you're dying to ask for, or something you got,
well, you've had so many funded, but for people who haven't had something funded.
A lot of people want iPads. That's the latest.
It's like making a Christmas wish list or something. Everybody's writing in their ideas.
Someone listed gardening.
Yeah. I can understand because I have mine and I love it. I take it with me everywhere.
You know, there is some special funding right now for gardening. So when you go talk about the newsletter next, be sure to look for gardening. I forget what the name of the corporation is that's doing that. Well, DonorsChoose likes to reward you for timely sending in your thank you notes and uploading your photos. And so they've developed a point system. And so I have on this slide here different points they give you. And so if you are lucky enough to have 3 proposals funded, you would end up with 9 points. And you can use these points to submit more proposals. Let's say you want to go on a field trip. There's no vendor at the eSchool Mall to do that, and so you have to do what's called a special request, but it costs 6 points. So this part of the webinar is more for teachers who've had a few proposals under their belts. They've collected some points. I'm up to 53 points, so I don't really use the special points very often, but this year I actually did start using it, and it wasn't hard to get a bus. I was just delighted we got a bus, and just by filling out the special form for DonorsChoose. Another thing you can do is if you want something and you can't find it at the eSchool Mall, you can use your 6 points to request a vendor that's not in the DonorsChoose list. And that's what I did for my chess set, because the chess set they offered wasn't exactly what I wanted. So there is a way to do this, but this is for teachers that have already had a few proposals that have been funded and they've accrued some points. So this is the best part of the webinar, secrets that I have and I want to share with you so you can get your projects funded. So when you are registered with DonorsChoose, you go to your account, you log in, and on the right-hand side, I want you to look for this blue box that says Announcements. If you look at the second paragraph, it says, stay tuned for our newsletter. There's going to be a brand new newsletter in just a few days for July. And if you notice on the right, I have a screenshot of a June funding newsletter, and it's broken down by your state. So you click on your state, and you see what special corporations are offering opportunities to get your projects funded. This is the best way to get total strangers to fund 50% or even more of your projects right away. There's another one, this is my favorite. If you see any corporation offering almost home, that means that no matter how much your project costs, the corporation will fund it except for $98. So this is brilliant. And this is how I've had a lot of my proposals funded this year, because I've followed the directions of what each corporation was asking for, and sure enough, everything was funded but 98. And in 5 months, you can pretty much be assured that somebody or some people will help you finish that $98. So here's one. If you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, and you write a proposal that has something to do with energy, you can get all but 98 funded. This is one I'm going to do next week. It's called the Blueford Bundle, or the King Series Bundle, and there's a company called Townsend Press. And if you ask for literacy supplies, up to $750 of literacy supplies, and among your supplies are the Blueford Bundle, which is only $20, you will get everything funded except for $98. Is that brilliant? So this is a sample. This teacher asked for Tuck Everlasting class set and the Mixed Up Files class set of books. But this teacher here asked for the Blueford Bundle, but look what happened. Instead of asking for literature resources, they asked for a printer and a print cartridge. They did not get the special Almost Home funding. So you have to be really careful and only ask for what that corporation wants you to. So their proposal was submitted, but now they have to wait for $700 in funding. So here's a bunch of links that you can use. And all of these will give you more information on how you can get your questions answered, and they have an online tutorial. And now, Laura, we have some time if we want to do questions, or should I continue on and tell them more about your website? What would be good?
I just realized that my microphone was off. I started to answer you. Right now, since we do have a little bit more time than I thought we would at the end, I think we should take a little bit of time for some of the questions. And I think the best thing to do is I know a lot of questions have come up, is for people to just retype a question in the box that you didn't have answered. And then, Francie, you can now stop and look and just kind of pick and choose some of the questions.
Okay, I see some right now. Paula was asking about Townsend Press. Yes, that one is still ongoing, and if you go and look at the June newsletter, it'll tell you exactly how to order. The Blueford books are for upper grade kids, and the other set is for lower grade, and you just have to include that. And I was thinking literacy stations or classroom books or lit circles of books would be great to add to that proposal. So that is an opportunity you can use right now. The optional DonorsChoose donation is to help donors choose with their administrative costs. They do keep their costs down, but they do have costs, and so they add an extra 15%. And people can choose to help fund that, or they can choose not to. But that's
Francie?
what's
Sorry. The DonorsChoose is a nonprofit organization, right?
Right.
So when people are donating the extra 15% or whatever, that's because there are people like you that have to do the reading, and there are administrative people. Like, if nobody ever, contributed that extra 15%, they would not be able to continue operating. It's not like they're making a profit or something like that. It's just, I'm sure they have offices in certain places and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of add on to that.
Kathleen and Ellen were wondering if, since their contract starts in late April, if they could start submitting proposals. You know, I've never seen DonorsChoose ask for my credentials, so if you know you're going to be teaching full-time, I'd go ahead and do it. And if your principal knows about you, so if your principal happens to be contacted, that wouldn't pose a problem. I think it'd be fine. And that AKJ Books is a great resource. It's just like shopping at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. They have every book you want. And what's fun is you can order hardcover books that'll last forever and get them for your classroom library. Librarians can fund. Yes, that's one of the people that are listed as people who can apply for proposals. Let's see if there's some more questions. Do you have any that I've missed, Laura?
I'm not sure. Linda, I've seen this question. Linda's asking, does anyone have any tricks to get onto donor pages? I saw that question come up earlier, and I'm not sure what a donor page is. Do you know what that refers to?
Yes. It might just be she wants to promote her proposal.
Okay, she says like Adam Lambert, like you were talking about before the
right.
Yeah, no, there are some celebrities that want to promote that kind of thing, but I don't know that they have pages, do they?
No, what happens is Adam will say, "Hey, go to DonorsChoose and help fund some proposals." So it's just the luck of the draw if someone picks yours. That's why you want to have a grabby title and a great proposal, because somebody might go, like someone funded chess. They said, "I like chess. I don't know who this person is, but they sent $20." So it's kind of hit and miss how you get funded. But someone was asking about Rosetta Stone. I've seen that proposal rejected so many times because the teachers usually say that they're going to use Rosetta Stone. If you can say in your proposal that the students are going to use Rosetta Stone, go for it. But if you want to learn Spanish over the summer, that proposal will not get approved.
Okay, I saw something relating to summer. If a project gets funded in the summer, how do you send the thank you cards? But even if it's funded in the summer, like you have time to use it with your kids, and the thank you cards don't have to be sent, like you don't send those out right away. You have like a couple of months or something.
What happens is DonorsChoose does not mail project resources during the summer. They just hold them till September. So once you get your resource, then you have a good 3 months to send in the thank you letters and upload the photos. So that's when the clock starts ticking, once the resources are in your hand. So they'll fund your projects over the summer, but nothing will be mailed till school starts.
Somebody said that school starts in August, but I guess they just DonorsChoose is out for the summer or something, or they're just not involved with it.
Yeah. No, get your proposals listed. I told a story how a woman gave $1 million last summer for anyone who had a proposal in California, and people had wonderful projects funded. So it's best to I think when you first start, they allow you 3 proposals. So I recommend that you get them in now. And I would wait for the July newsletter to see if there's any of those special almost home projects, and pick things that you'll have the highest likelihood of getting funded.
Okay, I see another question. Somebody asked, Tiffany asked, what happens to funds if you don't make the full amount? Like people have gone on there and donated, and then it runs out. What happens to those funds?
I believe that the donors are contacted, and then they can resubmit their donation to another proposal.
Okay. And then someone asked, Roxanne asked, what if the parents won't sign the permission slips?
Oh, well then I just don't include
those
kids in the photos.
But I think what you would probably want to do.
Yeah. I just say,
right.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking, is get your permission slips first.
Yeah, and
okay.
If you have a permission slip, come over here for the picture, and only those kids get in the picture, so that's not a problem.
Okay. Well, why don't we move kind of towards the last few things we were going to talk about and do the drawing, and then if people still feel like have questions, as I said, we don't mind hanging around after the webinar is officially over, but we do like to try to wrap them up in the hour time to kind of respect people's time. Everybody's busy. So do you want to go on to the next slide?
Right. Let's raise your hand if you've been to Laura Kendler's website. She is just amazing, isn't she? Yay! I love her. I heard about her 10 years ago when I was a new teacher, and people would pull me aside and go, "Have you heard of Laura Kamler?" I'm going, "No." And then, "You've got to go to her file cabinet." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to her website, and sure enough, Laura is the most generous soul, and she has great graphics and great ideas. This is what her file cabinet looks like. You say, "Oh, I need some math handouts," and you go to her file cabinet, and there's just tons of material that she's developed with great ideas, great projects. I used her when I was doing the traditional literature circle, and I needed a word wizard page, and I just fell in love with her. So whenever Laura had special groups that would get together, and she says, "Who can help me on my next book?" I'd sign up and be part of it. And she always has real readable materials and things that I can just use in my classroom. And this year, Laura has invited me to help her with her webinars. I'm her moderator, and we've been doing free webinars. She's had one on writing workshops, on how to do math stations, and book clubs, which are casual literature circles. And you can listen to these just like you can listen to this recorded webinar later. You can listen to the webinars she's produced, and she'll share the website. It's right there on this slide. But I highly recommend that I'm
going to put it in here right now.
Okay. I recommend that you visit her website and try out her stuff, because she's great. And Laura,
well, thanks to everybody for the nice comments in the chat box. I didn't even see it. My chat got stuck way up at the top, and I scrolled down. Thanks. I have so much fun sharing resources and things, and I learned so much from teachers through the webinars. I present them, but then people give great ideas back. So it's wonderful. And I don't know if did you mention that there's another webinar coming up on July 21st that we're doing on the not the writing workshop, but the reading workshop approach. And reading workshop is an outstanding method of teaching reading, and we'll be sharing information about how to do that.
Right.
Okay, so it's go ahead.
Laura, I wanted you to tell people about your Facebook page. That's really cool too.
Oh, I do have a Facebook page for teachers as sort of a supporting page that you can go to. I post a weekly question, and people can respond to that, and then I choose a weekly winner who can win one of my power packs. And one thing I've tried to do lately is I've tried to ask people to post questions regarding their DonorsChoose project. Post their DonorsChoose projects, and then I'll usually donate a gift card or something to one of those, but it gives everybody an opportunity to get their projects out there for people to see. So, okay, I think it's time for us to do a drawing. So let me explain how that's going to work. Let me clear out the hands right now. Are they all cleared out? What we'll do for the drawing is if everybody would, who would like to win the DonorsChoose gift card, if you would click the raise hand icon and get in the lineup. Boy, that was quick. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer, and while we're doing that, I'm going to go to the random.org website. I don't know how many people have used that before, but it's a great website. And if you would, we're still waiting on a few more people. I want to make sure that everybody who wants to be included is included, because once I enter the number into the box and do the drawing, there won't be another. I see people, I don't know if the numbers are going up and down, so maybe people are exiting out of the room, or I don't know what's going on. Okay. I don't want to call the number yet, because if anybody exits out or something like that, then when I call the number, it'll sort of change the position. So looks like we've got maybe 128. I'm going to put 130 in, and I'm not going to let you see what I'm doing because I want to see who the winner is before I announce it. Okay. The winner is number 3, Jean or Jeannie. So let's give Jeannie a hand. And Jeannie will need to put her full, send an email later, or she can put her information into the chat box, and we'll get the Donors Choose card to her later because we'll need to send it, I guess. Francie, tell me a little bit about that because I haven't done the gift card. I think I'll have to send it to her email address or something.
Right. What Laura will do is she'll create a gift card just for Jean, and then Jean will get an email saying, "Congratulations, you have received $50 to spend any way you want." Now, you can go to my website at DonorsChoose and fund my dry erase markers, or, Jean, you can fund your own proposal. You can do whatever you want with that $50 and go shopping on DonorsChoose and fund a proposal. Of course, I'd fund my own if I were you. And Laura, DonorsChoose will take care of it for you. I think you can somehow arrange to tell them who you want your gift card to go to. So, Jean, all you have to do is register first with DonorsChoose.
Okay, and Jean, if you don't mind, like putting your first and last name in there or something, just to be sure, if more than one person contacts me saying that they're Jean, I want to be sure of who it's supposed to go to. If you want to put your email address in there, you can as well.
Right, Laura, can you type in your Facebook address? People want to see that.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Did you have that on that page earlier? Because it's easier for me to copy and paste, but I don't know if you have it. Okay.
I just did a search for teaching resources on Facebook. That's how I found it.
Okay. That's not what you've just put in there. Oh, I think.
No, someone did that for you.
Maybe that was one post that I had. All right, Give me just a second here. Yeah, it's facebook.com / teaching resources is the main page.
Right.
But anyways, it's a great resource. It's a great way for people to collaborate together. And I really enjoy it because I learn a lot from people when they post things on Facebook. I'll have a question and then they'll come up with answers. Sometimes I'll ask things like, where's a great website for rocks and minerals or something, and then people will give those responses and then we can all benefit from that.
Right. Linda wanted to know how I got to be a TAS screener. Yeah, they just wrote me one time and they asked me if I wanted to, and I thought, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. But I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And so they had a training session, and we learned all about what to do and what to look for and how to reject a proposal and how to edit it. And I'm hooked now. I really enjoy it. And I guess I want to recommend anyone who, if you're not really sure how to word your proposal, just pretend you're a donor and search for different proposals and read others, and you can get some great ideas of things you might need for your classroom and ways to go shopping. You can look where they got their resources from, and it's a great way to kind of figure out what you want for your own classroom.
Okay, let me, Liz asked how do we download and find the PowerPoint and so on, and since we're right here at the end of our time, I wanted to answer some of those questions. If you join this webinar based on the link that I sent and you registered for it through my website, I'm going to be sending out an email to everybody who is registered, whether or not they attended. There were over 400 people registered, but probably a lot of people registered knowing that they couldn't attend but wanted to get the information. So it will take us, it'll probably be sometime tomorrow before we have the recording link and PowerPoint, but I will send you the location of that information. And then I was also thinking, Francie, maybe in a couple of weeks, if you remind me, I could put a question on my Facebook page and ask people who attended the webinar to post links to their proposals that they have put together based on some of your tips and things. And I would certainly love to hear if their proposals are successful. Just
right.
I really think what you've shared tonight is just awesome, and I know that some people, maybe they've been frustrated because they haven't gotten a proposal funded, and now they're like, okay, I know what I need to do now. So I think it's just terrific. I'm so glad that you shared this with us.
Thank you. And you know, on the Almost Home proposals, there's a limited fund that the corporation, for example, Townsend Press, they're going to hit a maximum that they agreed to fund. So get those Almost Homes in right away, because 750 and 750 is going to add up, and suddenly that special opportunity will go away. So that's why before you start just saying, what do I really want, go and see what's being offered for 50% funding and this $98 funding, and do those first. And then if you don't see anything for your particular location, then you can just do a general proposal. But you might as well increase your chance of success by using these great funding opportunities.
Well, I think we should go ahead and sort of close out the formal session. I am going to let the recording run for a little while, just because I know that sometimes questions do come up after the hour-long session. But if you are not able to hang around and ask more questions, feel free to leave, and I will post a link to the full recording. Thanks so much, Francie. And if anybody does have any more questions that you feel like have not been answered, if you have a microphone, you can, in fact, I'm going to clear out the hands. You can raise your hand and ask to take the microphone and ask your question, or you can just put it in the chat box, and we'll kind of hang around. But if you're finished with the session, or you have other things to move on to, you just click the X up in the corner and exit out of the room, and later when everybody's out, we'll be able to process the recording.
Jenny had a good question. Can you ask for things for your whole school? You can. I know a nurse asked for Kleenex or some sort of medical supplies that she needed, and that would work out. You can ask for PE equipment, and you can mention that you want a digital projector. They want it really for your room, but I have seen some teachers say that they'll share it. DonorsChoose really likes you to use your own resources, but if you want to say all the third graders will share these notebooks that you're asking for, you can go ahead and do that. But you're the lead person that's requesting the proposal. Oh, and here, Linda, she asked for a field trip for her entire grade level, and she got that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's wonderful. Where'd you go, Linda? We want to hear the details.
Oh, someone's asking about the newsletter. You log in to DonorsChoose once you create an account, and you look on the right-hand side, and there's a blue box that says Announcements. And I was just there last night, and they said, look for the July newsletter. So there's one coming out, but you could just click on it, and it'll have the funding that they're offering for June.
I put the link in for DonorsChoose. I'm sorry, I can't believe I didn't even put it in at the beginning. This moderator job is hard to do, Francie.
Well, I've earned your respect.
So hopefully they figured out where to go for that, even though I didn't have it right at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. And
anything else? Linda went to the New England Aquarium in Boston. Cool. Peggy's had encyclopedias, level books.
Oh, Marie says, I hope you get to review my proposal. How sweet. You know, we don't get to know the names of the teachers, and guess what? I can't review any proposals from California. They actually don't let you review your own state. So, you know, you don't have some bias of letting things slip through the cracks. So I think that's kind of fun.
Jennifer's asking, what happens if you have a project that doesn't get funded and then you're out of points?
That's a good question. Huh.
Do you have to? I mean, you got to get started somehow. You don't have to have any points to write a proposal, do you? It's only if you have like special.
Yeah, no, Laura. Each proposal is 1 point, because remember it said from 100 to 400, it's 1 point. I think you'll be lucky. I think the other thing you could do is maybe you could write DonorsChoose and say, hey, I'm brand new. I have no points left. Can you please reinstate some points? Because there's a lot of volunteers that are very nice there, and I bet they'll just give you back your points.
yeah, there's got to be something there in place, because I'm sure that happens.
Yeah.
But you might not be able to request something special like field trips and things
Right.
until you get
Sarah said that you can call DonorsChoose if you run out of points.
Okay.
And have all my proposals been funded? Absolutely not. I wanted recorders, and I had a silly proposal for over $700 that totally nobody touched, and they just archive it. And I probably have about 15 proposals that did not make the cut. But I'm like the bunny. I just keep trying.
The Energizer bunny.
Right. And DonorsChoose was very surprised when that woman donated $1 million last summer. So let's just hope that happens. So I said to myself, I'm going to always have some proposals posted, because you never know what great opportunity might show up. And Marley was saying, don't go over 400. It's okay if the DonorsChoose cost goes over 400, but make sure your actual resources don't go over 400. I really recommend it. And you saw that if you ask for 300, your proposal's for 5. So if you keep it around 200, that'll get your proposal around $400. That's about right. And Laura and I were talking. You could split your proposals into 2. You can ask for snare drums in proposal 1 and a xylophone for proposal 2, and therefore you can get them both funded at a low cost. What I think it is if I'm a donor and I want to give $50, I want to see that it makes an impact. So if you're asking for a $1,200 proposal, your $50 isn't going anywhere. But if you only need $200 proposal and you give $50, well, you've made a big dent in getting that thing funded. So that's why I think donors prefer to fund proposals that aren't asking for too much.
And you know what's really good about the Almost Home proposal? I know there's been times when I've gone on looking for proposals that I wanted to fund, and it's kind of fun to find one that only has, $50 needed, and then if I donate $50, then I feel like, woohoo, I helped this proposal get funded. And I'm sure that there are a lot of other people, that if there's just less than 100 left, there are people who will go on and donate that. So the smaller it is, it seems like the more likely you are to get it funded.
So Kimberly was asking about the Almost Home. You can go right ahead and fund up to that $750 in resources, because Townsend Press, if you follow the rules and only ask for literacy books right now, they will fund everything, and all you'll see that's due is $98. So yes, go ahead and go shopping. That's the one to really have fun with. And Debbie wants to know how you can get a document camera for more than $400. You'll just have to spend 2 points. They're expensive, and Elmo's tend to cost between $500 and $700 on DonorsChoose by the time all the resources are added up. So that'll cost you 2 points instead of 1.
Jenny had a question. She says she's a military wife and she moves off, and can she take the resources with her? And we were talking about this before the recording started, that the rule is that the materials are supposed to stay at the school, but there's not really anybody that's going to be checking behind you. So if you have an administrator that knows that the materials must stay there, then you may have to leave them behind. But my feeling on that is, if you're the one that wrote the proposal, you have a plan for those materials, and it bothers me that they would be left behind at a school where nobody even knows what to do with them. Whereas if you took them with you, you could make use of them at your new school. So I don't know why they have a proposal. I mean, I don't know why they have a requirement like that.
Right. Someone wanted to go shopping at the mall before writing a proposal. You can start a proposal and just save it as a draft, and it'll never go anywhere. It just sort of sits there, and it's only when you go through all the process of typing the request letter and writing your essay. So shopping is one of the earliest things you can do. So you can just go shopping, look around, and then just not submit that proposal. It's just in draft status. So that's a good way to see what's out there. Another thing you can do is just go, like, let's say you want something from Lakeshore. Just go directly to Lakeshore and see what you want, and then when you go shopping on the East School Mall through DonorsChoose, you can just type in the item number. I've done that to speed things up.
Oh, so anything that company offers, like Lakeshore, they'll offer it through the eSchool Mall too?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, let's say you like Blick. A lot of people go to Blick for art supplies, or NASCO. They always have great supplies. It's just the regular store, but you have to go through the eSchool Mall, so DonorsChoose creates a resource cart just for your proposal.
Okay. The question was, if you're just starting and have no points, how can you submit a proposal? I think if you're just starting, you either automatically get some points, or you can go ahead and start even if you don't have points.
Right. I think every new teacher gets 2 or 3 points to start with.
Right. And I remember, Francie, were you part of DonorsChoose when they started the point system? Because I remember they started it because there was no quality controls in what was going on, and some people had like all of these different proposals that weren't being funded, and they were high, anyways, they were doing, they had to implement something to try to encourage people to kind of do a better job. And because they have limited resources, they had to use points, like those field trips. It takes a lot of work for somebody to, to do that because it's not in the mall. So I guess they had to come up with a system that would make it more fair.
Right. And it also, it gets you motivated to turn in the materials timely. And they ask you, what date would you like to return your thank you letters? Well, of course, I'm going to ask for the maximum time because, it takes a while to get your kids to write the letters and all. But you can always turn them in earlier. And they provide you with a pre-addressed label, so you don't have to pay any money to ship. You just have to put them in an envelope and ship them off to DonorsChoose. So they make it very easy.
They sure do. So do we have any other questions here?
Oh, someone, I went to the AJK and I just typed in Blueford, and that got me to the bundle. So if you were looking for the Townsend Press deal, I tried it last night, and so you just go directly to AKJ Books in the eSchool Mall, and then if you do a search for Blueford, it'll show you the bundle. And it's amazing. It's only a $20 bundle, so you can really go shopping. Someone's wondering, is it $7.50 including all DonorsChoose tack on? I don't think so. If you carefully read Townsend Press's Almost Home qualifications, they will probably say $7.50 in resources, and that word for DonorsChoose means $7.50 in goods, and DonorsChoose cost is covered over and beyond it. So, if you're worried, spend $600.
Okay. I've seen a couple of questions coming up about private schools. Wishing they had a way, but I don't think that's ever been discussed. Or do you know if there's
There isn't. When DonorsChoose first started, it was just in a few states, and so that your odds of getting funded were much higher. And now they've made it nationwide, but they have not yet made the step to private schools. And I haven't seen any communication that they're thinking about it. So as of now, it's that way. And back to Kimberly on the Blueford books. All you have to do is add the Blueford bundle and then go shopping for anything else you want. For example, remember that teacher, she asked for Tuck Everlasting. So just keep it as literature and you'll be fine. But you want to add, you get the Blueford plus whatever you want. Or the King series. The King series is more for the kids that are younger.
Donna asked if you could give the link to your DonorsChoose page.
Oh yeah, and that's a good point. There's a way to share with parents what your DonorsChoose page is, so they don't have to go do a search. And so Laura, I'll step away for a second and go to my site, and I'll find out what my page is. I don't know what it is offhand.
Okay. I think that I was trying to think how I did that, because on the parent letter that's on the sample parent letter that's on my website, I actually think what I did was I found that link and I put it on my class web page so that parents could go there and click directly through, because it is very difficult. Like a parent can't really go on there and just type Mrs. Candler and find my proposal. So that was kind of a tricky part about it. Maybe that's why you had kids bringing cash in, like you said earlier, and then you went and did donated it all at one time.
Okay, I found mine. I'm called Mrs. Kugelman. So let me get back to Illuminate, and I'll post it in the chat box. So if you want to see, this is my web page. I only have the dry erase and the flat right now because all my other ones were funded or they expired. So, but and the more you post with DonorsChoose, the more they let
Francie,
you. I think you're allowed 6 when you get to be an old timer like me. So I'm going to put 6 up pretty soon.
You also have on the webinar page where people signed up on my site, we have a link to your list of all of those. How many was? I know it was more than $20,000, but how many proposals
40
was it?
proposals
Do you remember?
that have been funded.
I'll put that link in.
And you can see my creative titles there, and those are all archived now that they've been funded, and I did the thank you notes. But if anyone wants to see what the wording was, I can help you there. And what Laura is going to do is when we all sign out, she's going to archive and produce a version of this recording that you all can access, and then I'll put together a PowerPoint that you can download, and hopefully you go be me and share how to do this so you get other teachers at your school to use DonorsChoose. I really think that the more people who put in for proposals, the more donors they'll get. It's sort of a win-win for all of us.
Right, and even as teachers, talking to your own family members, or like I said, sending a letter to your students if they share it. I know, like I've told my dad about it. He's donated before, and I've told other family members. And many times people are looking for charitable donations, and it's a great way because it's a tax-deductible donation. I've been on the donors end as well as the teachers end, and you get a nice little letter for your tax records and things like that, and you feel good because you're helping out a classroom. So I think we should make sure that we're not just telling other teachers about it, but we should be telling other people in the community about it and asking them to go donate and help out a classroom. If not yours, just to help our schools and our kids.
Right. There's a question Can I answer one more question?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sure.
Someone has a picture of them in front of their class library. That sounds great. Just be sure that your face isn't too large, because remember that green oval. So you'll have to make sure that you yourself are small enough that you would be photo safe, because even teachers have to be photo safe. The newsletters, do they get sent to your email? Sometimes they do, and I haven't seen one in a long time. So I would go through the sign in and go to the announcements page, because you want to be proactive and find what's out there.
I guess that's it then. And I'm sure that if people had questions, you would be happy to answer emails and things if they still have it. Do you want to give your email address? You want me to give it out later?
Yeah, that's fine. It's I'll type it in for you.
So I guess we should all do a little bit more applause for Francie before we wrap up this session.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
I think it's very exciting. I'm so glad that she took time to put together such a nice presentation with all the information, and it's the kind of thing that we can go back and very easily read back through and get those pointers again later. Okay. All right. So I think what needs to happen is we can't process the recording until everybody leaves. So if you would click the red X up in the corner, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording right now.